Day 6 of the main event, just 1 hour from completion here at the Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino. Lon McCarron on hand with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. 36 players left. We've got an all-in and call. Center screen, amateur Carlton Tartar with pocket 7s at risk against the pocket 8s of Josh
Any
Weiss.
7 of spades and any 7 of clubs.
Yeah.
How many in the deck? I don't know. Must be.
Or I can take 4 hearts.
You'll take 4 hearts as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Take your time, there's no rush. Take your time, we don't want to make a mistake. Please. Whenever you're ready, we just burn and then 3 on the flop. You've done this before. Take your time, no rush. Whenever you're ready, Dean. Ready? Okay, here we go, he's ready.
All right, there's our flop. Jack 6 ace, the bigger stack. Weiss still good with the 8s.
Weiss, 35-year-old San Diego lawyer. Tartar, 52-year-old Washington, D.C. CPA.
Using card on the turn, you know it.
Kasuf, 34-year-old gadfly.
emceeing the hand right now. No help to Tartar there.
All right, one time. Gotta use it.
This will be a good time. This will be a good time for the one time. He said this is his one time. Which one? Call it in. 7 of spades, 7 of clubs.
7 clubs.
7 of clubs, he's called it in.
Yeah.
Stop singing because 7 of clubs.
The river is the 6 of clubs, and Carlton Tartar is out in 36th place.
So Tartar is gone. Since Kasuf miscalls all the cards, shouldn't he have to go with him?
Weiss continues his nice run. The Maryland CPA will cash out for over 216 grand. Alex Keating stack shorter than his beard now.
But he can pull an ace of clubs out of that beard at any time on any hand.
50-year-old Cliff Josephy seems to be doing everything right.
Nice guy, nice family, nice looking. That's 3 strikes in my book. He is out.
Tommy Miller is an architect just down the road from Cliff.
East Hampton. This fellow lives in East Hampton? That's like living on a year-round yacht.
Also in the field is Dan Coleman. If anyone is comfortable on the big stage, it's the 26-year-old from Massachusetts.
1-drop champ, a new attitude. Dan's chips are low, but according to my calculations, his chances of making the final table are high.
Every table is loaded, and this one no exception. Coleman is the short stack here.
He's got 20 big blinds. That's like real humans having 70.
2 to his right is the big stack, Cliff Josephy.
A 50-year-old internet poker legend. He has to be the coolest dad at pickup and drop-off.
The average stack now with 35 players remaining is about 9.6 million. Kakwan Lau, born in Hong Kong, grew up in Spain, back in Hong Kong now, folds to Matt Moss, ace 5 of spades. He lives in Macau. He raises to 350. Moss working with a stack of nearly 16 million. First timer, Adam Crack folds. Max Silver, another Brit. Final table, the 2011 World Series of Poker Europe main event folds to John Sin on the button.
31-year-old LA pro.
Ace-Jack offsuit.
He's rooming here with fellow pro Lance Keating, who's also still alive at this main event.
Sin has bounced around cities and IT jobs in the real world, and he re-raises to 875. Josephy in the small blind with pocket 9s.
Josephy with the best hand, the best life, the best home wiffle ball game. He doesn't like playing big pots, though.
Sin began the hand with 4.6 million. Moss, 15.9 million.
Playfully trying to catch Sin off guard.
A lot of action. Leading up to Josephy, and he folds the 9s.
How much you start with?
We're like 3.7 behind.
Moss with a very comfortable stack himself, nearly 100 big blinds.
All in.
And he raises enough to put Sin all in.
Sin used to be an IT consultant. He could use a main event consultant right now.
Talk about main event pressure. And a full big stack poker. Moss read the situation perfectly.
I've got to tell you, I wouldn't have 3-bet if I were Sin. I wouldn't have folded if I were Josephy, and I wouldn't have 4-bet shoved if I were Moss. Yeah, I've got this game pretty much figured out.
Most players in Matt Moss's shoes would have just folded pre-flop and moved on to the next hand. But Matt showed some guts, put in another raise, and ended up winning the pot. Sometimes, Norman, poker is not about the cards.
If it's not about the cards, then why do they deal them? Huh? Good cards are better than bad cards. But you're not always going to get pocket aces or kings. There's that old expression, you got to play the hand you're dealt. Matt Moss turned his weak ace into a strong ace. Or as Cool Hand Luke once said, sometimes nothing can be a real cool hand. So re-raise with rags. Live a little. How many chances in your life are you going to get to win $8 million?
$8 million awarded live on ESPN November 1st. Our live final table coverage starts October 30th. To a neighboring featured table, Elliot Peterman has the action, Queen Jack of clubs.
Peterman married with 2 kids and lives in San Jose, Costa Rica on a golf course. He's a younger Cliff Josephy.
He raises to 350 on the button. David Loneray, another Brit with pocket nines. He calls.
Gonna have a look.
Gonna have a look. An Alex Keating production.
In the small blind. 1 and 2. Ace Jack.
Okay. First he announces he's gonna look at his cards. Then he looks at them again.
I'm all in.
And he says all in for $2,350,000.
Keating somberly shoves with 14 big blinds left.
Big blind folds to Peterman. Peterman sheds Queen Jack suited.
2.5.
Loneray with nines.
That's good.
He pays the rent with his poker earnings, makes the call. Alex Keating on the cutting block.
Oh, you got it right? Okay. Good luck, bro. Either way.
All right, our flop. King 8, pocket nine, still good for Loneray.
Alex Keating has put himself in the limelight this main event, but that light about to stop shining on the Austin, Texas pro.
7 is no help to Keating, a striking lack of commentary from Alex.
But like Will Kassouf, Alex Keating has been a whirlwind of table talk, sometimes amusing, sometimes annoying. Right now, he is silent and in need of an ace or a jack.
The river card is a 4. Loneray takes it. The bearded one is out.
We've lost one of our town criers. He was rambunctious for a long time. Now he is restrained as he goes out. Great, great run.
He cut quite a figure here at the main event. Loneray stacks a nice pot. He'll have 71 big blinds to work with now. The current payout exceeds his total lifetime winnings. He's a happy man. Alex Keating done in 35th place.
Just feels like they're taking him to the gallows.
The main event will be a much quieter place now without Alex Keating.
Find it weird that you can actually trade this money for goods and services. And I forget about that sometimes because I usually just use it to play more poker. See you guys next time.
I'll kind of miss him.
Alex Keating entertained us, but his show is over. Ours will continue. The 2016 World Series of Poker is brought to you by WSOP Social, the #1 play-for-fun poker app for you and your friends. Free download for mobile, tablet, or PC at playwsop.com.
Main event. All right. Wow, good cards.
We gonna have a problem?
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. You look nervous. Take your cards. Go like this. That's not very impressive.
Wow, that's really good, actually. I'm really worried that this table is going to be boring.
It's fun for the whole family.
Let's go down to Kara Scott now with Alex Keating.
It's been an incredible run. Alex, talk to us about how the experience was for you.
Well, this was just, it's actually my second day 6, but this one just felt just so much more exhausting with every day. It's a great experience. Like, I highly recommend it to go 6 days playing a poker tournament. It's just like, it's an incredible amount of stress. I couldn't even imagine doing it again. But it was really enjoyable to do and just to meet a whole bunch of new people.
What's next for Alex Keating then? Where do we see you?
Actually, for Alex Keating, it's I do a meditation at the end of every World Series. It's like 10 days. Surprisingly, no talking at all. So that's what's next for me. I always decide when I'm going to do it, win, lose, or draw. And then, I want to go see my friends back home. Yeah.
There's going to be a lot for you to reflect on, I think, in your 10-day meditation. It's been an incredible run. Thanks so much for talking to us.
All right, thank you.
We are now down to 34 players from the original field of 67-37. A lot of talented players out, but a lot left, Norman.
And 6 Brits still in the field. Man, I thought we got rid of them in 1776.
One player still in the mix is Dan Coleman, a young pro with a very good perspective on the game.
The thing is, in No Limit Hold'em, you could be playing so great for the first 30, 40 hours of this tournament, but just one mistake and your whole stack is gone. One hand, you can lose all your chips, so you just have to be on point throughout the whole tournament.
Coleman, the short stack at this table with $2.9 million. He'll like those pocket 10s more so if he learns Max Silver has raised with pocket 9s.
I'm all in.
You heard him.
Coleman pushes with 18 big blinds.
Lau folds queen, jack. Button folds. Adam correct.
How much is it? It's a little bit over 3.
So out there.
What do you have?
I can say it right. 9s.
It's tough.
Tough spot. Your timing seems pretty strong, but maybe I'm wrong. Didn't count. I guess you probably knew how much I had already. I don't feel like I'm gonna fold, but just want to think this through.
It's a lot of your chips.
It is. I'm aware of the fact.
Dan Coleman talking to opponents. He's morphed into Daniel Negreanu.
And it's the main event as well.
It is for a lot of Silver's chips. If he calls and loses here, he'd be down to 5 big blinds.
Silver calls.
5-10s.
Coleman a clean board from a double up.
Yeah, that was a tough decision for Max Silver. He had to hope they were flipping or that Coleman maybe had pocket 7s or 8s.
You taught me into it, Dan.
I'm a live pro. See what works out.
All right, here's the flop. Coleman at risk. Silver with a gut shot to give Coleman a sweat.
Crowd goes wild.
Coleman still at risk. Silver in for most of his chips.
I'll take a 4.
4.
Right
I was thinking 4 as well, but 3's the same.
4's more fun, though. I don't know why.
I think actually 3's more fun.
Turn card, another 5. Coleman, 1 card from his double.
There apparently are no pictures in this deck, which is good news for Silver. He needs an 8 or a 9 to knock out Dan Coleman.
The river card, the king of clubs. Coleman will keep his seat while Silver's chances take a hard turn downward.
That's undone.
Yes. 2.9, 6.5?
6.5, yeah.
Silver below $1 million. Dan back where he began day 6, but 6.3 million now doesn't buy as much as it used to in the main event. Dan Coleman, widely considered to be one of the best heads-up players in the world, born in Massachusetts. He lives in Brazil now, in part to play online poker.
The 26-year-old is a reluctant poker pro, and in that regard, he reminds me of another young phenom, Fedor Holtz. They both seem to feel that there's more to life than poker, and while it's great to play, it shouldn't be the end game.
Well, short stack Max Silver just shoved his remaining stack into the pot, flopping top pair. John Sin called with king jack of hearts to put Max at risk.
Sin would be down to 17 big blinds if he loses this to Max.
Turn card gives Sin a flush draw and a river full of outs.
Never easy.
Sin goes from 6 outs to 15.
At least make it the 8 of hearts if it's going to be hard, you know?
It's all right. I'm not all in, so I don't know.
Max on his feet. The river is a hard, and Sin scores the flush and the knockout.
It's as if Max Silver saw that coming. Runner flush takes out the delightful British pro.
He's done in 33rd here at the 2016 main event. Johnson collects some much-needed chips.
Max, it's tough, you know, like 8s for sure fold, 10s for sure call.
I know.
Worst part 9s.
As Dan Coleman said, a couple of bad hands can spell the end of your tournament. So long, Max Silver. There is the bracelet the remaining 32 players are playing for, that and $8 million. East Hampton's Tommy Miller has been under the radar at this main event. Perhaps that's because he's not a traditional pro.
I started pursuing architecture probably around like 14 or 15. I just loved to draw, and building just excited me. Always been intrigued by the design of a building, and, you know, I was just drawn to it. Frank Lloyd Wright is probably, you know, he's the man. He just has, you know, just incredible designs, and his just flow and function of buildings are just incredible. I got my degree. I loved it, but I just kind of found poker towards the end of it, and I realized that I love poker more, so I wanted to pursue that and give it a shot, and here I am.
In a recent study conducted across all U.S. colleges, the major of architectural technology usually led to a career in poker, closely followed by a career in teaching architectural technology.
Miller raised under the gun with ace-jack. Jerry Wong 3-bet with a lesser ace. These are the 2 top stacks at this table. Wong with the 3 million chip advantage. Miller makes the call.
By the way, for you millennials, Frank Lloyd Wright was the Fedor Holtz of architecture.
Miller still best as both players missed that flop. Miller checks to the Brooklynite turned Cocoa Creek, Florida resident, Jerry Wong.
Both these fellows married with 2 dogs. The key there, 2 dogs. You got 2 dogs, you're ahead of the game.
With ace-10, Wong bets $1.1 million, exactly half the pot.
Yeah, Wong 3-bet pre-flop and now continues as if he has something. The good news for him is, though Miller still has the better hand, he also didn't connect with that flop.
Miller wondering, does he want action? No, he's not going anywhere, and makes the call.
When architectural technologists get started on a project, they are tough to shake.
Turn card now. King of clubs, third club out there. Miller with the nut flush draw now.
Yeah, great card from Miller, who still has nothing.
He checks again.
Wong, 34-year-old poker pro. He fled Brooklyn, fled it.
He's got some of the red chips. The mini Frisbees worth $500,000 each. $2.8 million this time, over 60% of the pot.
With squad douche, Wong keeps the pressure on. In Miller's spot, these are the hands that give amateurs the most trouble. You think you have the best hand, but you're not sure, and you don't want to lose a ton of chips to find out.
Miller with the flush draw. Says all in. $11.5 million, and Wong snap folds.
That was impressive. That was Frank Lloyd Wright-like. This is why I never invite architectural technologists to my home game.
Tommy, who has hosted many poker training videos, took Wong to school there and now has almost 19 million chips, while Jerry Wong has been reduced to 11.8 million. So Miller becoming a factor. All right, let's go to the lone outer table where Motormouth Will Kassouf sits.
This is the best show in town. It's the World Series of Poker main event. If you go deep, it's the best show in town. The cameras all laugh. It's all a good giggle.
Still seated across from Will is fellow Brit Andrew Christoforou, the restaurateur, enjoying a very successful first main event.
He has survived Will Kassouf and the fact he can't find good fish and chips anywhere in Las Vegas.
At the feature table sits one of the luckier players we've seen, Spain's Fernando Pons. He's also playing in his first main event.
Fernando satellited into the main event for about $30. This is actually his first trip to Las Vegas. All of his friends and family are back in Spain, watching anxiously all the updates online as he makes his incredible run. The father of one is actually not even a professional poker player, although he has been playing for about 5 years, and his entire family love the game. With his healthy stack and over $200,000 already locked up, the quiet Spaniard has a lot to celebrate.
Pons lives in Palma de Mallorca, Spain, which actually I would take over East Hampton.
Pons with Queen 10 of spades saw Dan Coleman open for $360,000 with the hand of the hour, pocket nines.
Fernando is making a habit out of winning from behind, which is a graduate course at the Norman Chad School of Poker.
He's in the cutoff seat, one off the button. 16 million chips to work with and a raise to 1 million with suited seductive cards.
One day you're working for a home improvement outlet and win a satellite for a few euros into the main event. The next day you're 3-betting the great Dan Coleman with 4 tables left at the main event. Nothing like poker.
Coleman will call for 640,000 more. So Pons against the man who is 4th on the all-time live poker earnings list. Here's the flop. 8-8 Jack. Coleman with 2 pair now is still best, and he checks to Pons with a useless gut shot as a 9 gives Dan a boat.
Pons is a big fan of fellow Spaniard Adrian Mateos, phenomenal young pro who already has 2 bracelets.
Pons with chips, $1.1 million.
The amateur continues to attack the pro. If Coleman senses he's weak, he could check raise here.
Coleman putting chips together. He has none of those mini red Frisbees worth $500,000 each. He'll use the lavenders to make the call. Turn card, King of Spades. Coleman's still good, but Pons now with a flush draw and a live Broadway draw. Coleman checks.
Pons still without a hand, but it keeps looking better and better.
And he bets enough to put Coleman all in here on the turn.
Fernando has bet the flop and turn with nothing. We call it a Pons scheme.
I have a hand I don't think I can fold.
The new Dan Coleman talking it up. Almost a pot-sized bet from Pons.
Coleman trying to figure out the amateur.
Where are you from?
Wow. Someone called Daniel Negreanu's room. I think his body has been snatched.
Dan is the heads-up specialist, as you mentioned, but a notorious online trash talker. He knows the verbal game.
It looks like Dan Coleman lied. He did have a hand he could fold.
Show the bluff.
The amateur stands up to the worldly pro.
Show one card that's a bluff.
You got an 8?
What?
You got an 8? No, okay. The way you were talking, I thought you had an 8. Yeah. I was like, what the hell?
I had a pair of 9s.
Give the amateur credit. He put Coleman to a decision and won.
Costly to Coleman, but he's got to appreciate the play of Pons there. At the outer table, a crowd is gathered, and why not? It's aces versus kings, all in pre-flop. Lance Keating with kings and 7.14 million. Josh Weiss with aces and 7.24 million.
Keating, 44-year-old Indiana poker player and business owner. He also cashed in the main event last year, rooming with John Sin this summer.
Aces versus kings, and here is the flop. Ace 9-9, Weiss flops aces full.
That's real nice for pocket kings. Pocket kings, you are 0.1% on the flop.
And Keating needs quad kings to win it.
Nine's a sweat.
The turn card. A 5, it's not going to happen. Lance Keating is done with this main event.
Every year, someone runs pocket kings into pocket aces deep in the main event. Lance Keating feels the pain of it.
What a cooler. They're going to recount the stacks to confirm, but another Keating, this one with no hair and no relation, is out in 32nd place. The eliminations are coming at a rapid pace. We're down to just 31 players late on day 6. Take a load off, son. You're still in it.
Didn't have anything, that's what I know.
I don't need cameras, man.
More, bit more. Put some greens. Put some greens in.
Can I get a table change, please? Who's in charge?
Welcome back to the Rio. It's hard to see the final table on day 1 of the main event, but it's a lot clearer now, late on day 6. Dan Coleman rarely looks happy, but his day 6 stack just won't grow. He's under the gun with Jack-9 suited.
Coleman hasn't played that much poker in the last year. He's been practicing martial arts, hiking with his dog, keeping in shape.
A raise to 2.2 times the big blind, the latest standard in raises. Action around to Fernando Pons, his new nemesis with ace-jack.
They meet again, the talker, Dan Coleman, and the quiet one, Fernando Pons.
Pons. None of the big chips. This looks like a call. Yeah, happy to see a flop there.
Yeah, last time Pons 3-bet Coleman pre-flop. This time just with a call. The man in white and the man in black.
And as you've noticed from our interview drop-ins, Dan Coleman has become more comfortable and open with our cameras and his comments. Dan did take some hits for his less than enthusiastic attitude toward the media a couple years back. Heads up, he and Pons. Here's the flop. And a jack for both. Pons has the best kicker. Dan checks.
Yeah, Pons with top pair, top kicker.
And he checks back. Coleman sees the tray of spades. He's out of position here.
Yeah, nice check back on the flop by Pons. Coleman certainly might think he has the best hand now.
Check. Coleman checks again.
Of course, the 3 on the turn changes nothing. When's the last time a 3 on the turn changed anything?
So you're saying it's kind of like a deuce?
Yes, I'm saying it's like a deuce. Thanks for playing.
Pons is going to bet 350.
I'm all in.
Coleman with a check raise all in.
How much?
Wow. If Coleman gets called, he's all but out of here.
I had a pair of 9s the hand before. It's in the same spot.
Coleman clearly thinks he's ahead.
Well, Pons checked that flop, so maybe Coleman thinks his jack is good.
I have a pair of jacks.
And there's a call. Dan Coleman is in trouble.
Yeah, we heard Coleman's soundbite earlier. You can play so great in No Limit Hold'em, and then just one mistake and your whole stack is gone. Hard to blame him here.
Flop was check.
Yeah, check on the flop.
Coleman needs a 9.
The river card is a queen.
Nice playing with you guys.
Coleman's fine main event run comes to an end here on day 6.
Nice playing with you. You matured so much in this online series. I know, it's a pleasure playing with you.
31st place for Dan Coleman, his first ever main event cash.
Good luck.
What are the chances that a guy who works for a home improvement store would outplay the great Dan Coleman on 2 consecutive critical hands?
Well done, Fernando Pons. You have one of the biggest stacks in the room right now. Let's go down to Kara Scott, who was with our 31st place finisher.
Dan, what is it about your skills and your personality as well that means you do so well in these big, high-profile events?
I'm not sure. I think I'm pretty good at adapting to playing the super high rollers, playing against very skilled players, and also doing well playing versus a weaker field filled with more amateurs, just through playing a lot of online poker. And I played a lot of heads-up singles where I had to battle out against very good players, and then also I just sat in the lobby and waited for weaker players to sit me, so I have a lot of experience playing both.
Thanks so much for talking to us. Thank you.
Let's get back to Will Kassouf thinking about his 6-high flush draw after a check from Jeff Hakeem on the left, who flopped bottom 2 pair.
Kassouf with a flush draw and action on him, so if you need to run to the store or perhaps the DMV, now would be a good time. Oh, he acted quickly.
He bets 520.
The best time of the moment, that's all I'm saying. Not bluffing the master.
A check raise all in from Hakeem.
Yes, sir.
His strongest possible play.
Why would you ship it? 3.9 over 500K.
This is for half of Kassouf's stack. There is no way he is calling here.
Why would you ship it then, Joe? Talk to me. Why so much? If you want me to call. Oh, giving you credit for a big hand here, like King Jack of Diamonds. But I'm winning. We got a spot on? At the moment. Well, do you want me to call? Yes or no? You don't have to tell me your hand. Just yes or no.
There's not a single hand Kassouf would be ahead of here. Not a single hand anywhere in the world.
He folds, but I don't think that's going to end the action, Norman.
Oh, they can see the hands now? I'm embarrassed to take that one. I should have snap called, right? I should have taken him out.
Hakeem with a nice pot there, but the breaking news is Dan Coleman's exit. Nice run, Dan.
Happy to hear that.
The payday is nice, but for those who go out now, it's bittersweet.
See you guys next time.
Nice playing, man. You played really good. I have a hand I don't think I can fold. I'm all in. Nice playing with you guys.
Alex Keating, Max Silver, Dan Coleman, all gone from the 2016 main event. One player still very much alive. Current chip leader Michael Ruane, a New Jersey pro with a clothing issue.
It's unbelievable. I actually didn't even pack enough clothes to be here today. So I'm like, I have to go shopping tomorrow. I ran out today, and I never expected to be here, obviously, let alone have all the chips that I have. So I'm super excited. Never had an opportunity like this, and yeah, it's amazing.
Not only does Ruane have to buy more clothes, this morning he misplaced his sneakers, so his buddy Brian Piccioli lent him his pair. Maybe that's why Piccioli busted earlier on day 6. He was barefoot.
Michael in the big blind saw Matt Moss raise from early position with ace-king off. With queen-8 of hearts, Michael calls for 200,000 more.
2 deep stacks here. Ruane out of position in the big blind.
All right, here's the flop. A king in the window for Moss, but 2 pair for Ruane. Oh my, and he checks.
Moss says he wasted 18 months of his life playing StarCraft. I feel the same way about Tetris.
Nobody wants to bet. Tray of clubs, so queens up for Ruane, still best.
Ruane combs his hair every other Tuesday.
Now Michael wants to get some value. That is 675,000.
Moss, London-born pro, based in Macau now, and why not? Better gambling, better weather, better food.
He loves skiing all around the world. With top pair, top kicker, no good. He's got a call.
He's got to like top pair, top kicker in this spot, but no good.
River card. 9 of spades, neither improves, but Michael didn't need to with his 2 pair.
Well, that's a scary card for both players. Flush got there and straight got there. But Ruane, wearing someone else's clothes, I believe, showing no fear.
850,000 from the bigger stack. And Moss with a quick call.
Give Ruane credit. He gets value there on the river where there seemingly isn't any. Plus, he's in week-old clothes, wearing somebody else's shoes, and he probably stole the watch.
Ruane collects a nice pot, and that increases his chip lead here late on day 6 of the main event. Meanwhile, Moss still with a very healthy stack, well above the current average of 11.2 million. Michael began day 6 with 5.6 million. He's had a net gain of over 20 million so far.
Matt Moss is used to 18-hour sessions when he plays cash games in Macau, so the main event grind is nothing to him.
He's cashed in 5 other events at his debut World Series of Poker. Loves to hit the slopes in France, Switzerland, US, and Japan. Moss raised to 360 under the gun with Queen Jack of clubs.
Is there a Hoodies R Us somewhere near the Rio? It's amazing looking at this table.
10, 9, 8, 7,
check them both again.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's a good countdown. That's a good countdown.
Cliff's been tracking John's slow pre-flop play.
I learned my lesson yesterday. I called the clock on some kid because he took 20 seconds before he looked at his cards at the outer table.
Oh, that's brutal.
And then he lost his mind. He started freaking out, hardcore, being like, you tournament players stall and do this and that. And I'm like,
This is a tournament.
This was the main. This was.
No, I'm saying, it's a tournament. Okay.
And he's like, I'll play.
Do you think it's acceptable to stall for no reason? I mean, like, before you look at your cards?
And he was like,
For what reason? He jumps for every 63 or something.
Yeah, he was like.
3 to the flop. Ruan's 9s are best with a gut shot. He checks to Lau, who's open-ended.
Here's the class every amateur wants to take, one to check in position rather than c-bet. We're building a new wing at the Norman Chad School of Poker for everyone who wants to attend that course.
Lau hits the good end of his straight draw. He is now best.
Yeah, Ruan figures his 9s are good, but the Hong Kong guy in the hoodie has a hidden straight.
Michael, suddenly a big dog in his hand, bet 675. Lau just calls. Moss folds his 2 face cards.
A smooth call from Lau. We actually don't have a class at the Norman Chad School of Poker for that.
River card, deuce of spades. Ruan comes up empty. Boy, how smart is he?
Well, with that board, I might still think that my 9s are good, but Ruan is wondering what Lau could be calling with on the turn.
Taekwon Lau bets $2 million into $2.5 million.
Ruan would have preferred to get the showdown for free.
Ruan folds the pocket 9s.
Good laydown by the New Jersey pro. Saves a couple million chips.
Absolutely. Lau with 96 big blinds, a very healthy stack. Ruan gives up a few, but still leads the way in this main event. Let's get back to the outer table. Will Kassouf open for $380,000 with ace-jack.
Best time at the moment, Kenny. No bluff.
Kenny is Kenny Hollart, and he finds pocket 7s in the big blind.
Do a move like Joe done the other couple.
I'm going to give Hollart the benefit of the doubt and assume he's cold. Otherwise, why would he be in a chartreuse hoodie?
He calls for 220 more. All right, here's the flop. Trey, deuce, king. Hollart still best as Will miss that. Kenny checks.
Well, here comes the continuation bet to be followed by the continuation speech play.
That is $515,000.
Kenny's a respected tournament director in Belgium. He should not be in a chartreuse hooded sweatshirt.
He could be having the same issues as Michael Ruan.
Oh.
And the lavender chips go in for a call.
No speech play from Kassouf. I guess he's taking his mandatory union break.
Over $2 million in the pot, 10 of clubs. Pocket pair still good for Kenny. He added a flush draw and checks again. Broadway draw for Will.
You looked, you got a club? Let me have a look. I qualify.
You qualify for Squadouche.
Kenny has seen it all, heard it all. Will checks back. River card now. 5 of diamonds, so Hollart's 7s walk through the fire. And he checks.
Well, it felt like Kassouf gave up on the pot on the turn, but let's see.
Will does check back, and Kenny will take that pot.
Ace, queen, nice clubs.
I don't think so.
Nobody asked him a question, and he still lies.
So I was gut shot flush draw brick.
Will's lies know no bounds. The players are headed for a short break, so we'll take one, too. Architectural technologist Tommy Miller and his wife Liz, the poker pro from East Hampton, among the final 30 here on day 6. Tommy has the button. He looks down at Pocket Kings. Normally a lovely sight, but we know that main event first-timer Mike Novinsky opened with aces.
Kings into aces again, but at least Miller has a stack that can sustain the blow.
Blinds up to 100, 200,000 with a 30K ante. Novinsky's raise was to 450. Miller repops it to over $1 million. And that's music to Mike's ears. Fold it around to Novinsky.
Oh, Novinsky with the Kasuf, a repeat. Remember, next year, 1 peak per hand. It will be a rule.
Mike with a shorter stack.
All in.
And now Miller with the Kasuf.
Makes the call. Novinsky proudly shows the aces.
Miller knows to build a stack. You can't run kings into aces. Bad luck.
I have to stay on the. I gotta see the board flip up.
Oh, Novinsky now does the Phil lock, standing behind the dealer.
Miller with about a third of his stack at risk.
The heart's racing for sure.
It's all good for Novinsky.
The first timer still good.
I don't want to say anything. I don't want to jinx this.
It's racing now,
Huh? It's actually racing like a lot slower than I would think in this spot. Like it's actually calmer. My head is definitely spinning a bit. I won't lie.
Don't lie.
Don't think. Can't promise anything.
Turn card, Mike's still good. Miller with one more shot to crack the aces.
I don't know what would make Novinsky's head spin more, a river ace or a river king. A river king would knock out Mike Novinsky.
The river is paint, but a queen. A nice, easy run out for Novinsky. Got just what he wanted. Aces hold up.
I started with a bit over 6.
Sometimes to build, you must tear down.
Miller plummets to an average stack instead of the tournament chip lead. Team Miller a bit shell-shocked at the moment, to be sure, but a lot of game to be played. Tommy aiming for his 3rd final table in a World Series event. Back of the feature table, it's been folded to the Spanish amateur, Fernando Pons, in the small blind with 6-5 of clubs, leaning to get a look at Adam Crack's much shorter stack in the big blind.
Pons speaks softly and carries a big chip stack.
And 2 small clubs, a raise to put Adam Crack all in.
All in.
Crack with kings will call all in, of course. Pons took a chance, but it's about to backfire.
Wow, nice call, Adam.
Yeah, nice call.
Really nice call.
Crack, 24-year-old Massachusetts pro living in Mexico. Another first-timer, and like Pons, he satellited into the main event.
Crack, the first timer we've been following at risk, but with a much better hand. Here is the flop, and there's a club, but the only club.
Crack standing up, but he's sitting pretty right now. 90% to double up against Pons, who has hit some great turns and rivers here and there.
You tell the truth, Norman Chad. Crack, the short stack at this table, trying to double up. Turn card is a king, and that will seal the deal as Pons is drawing dead.
The seal clap.
I don't know those guys.
Nice catch.
Adam Crack with the double up. He now sits with almost $7.6 million.
Did you think you had a pair? Did you think you had a pair when you all? I'm just kidding.
The 2016 World Series of Poker is brought to you by WSOP Social, the #1 play-for-fun poker app for you and your friends. Free download for mobile, tablet, or PC at playwsop.com. A flush and straight draws, but can't overcome Wojciech Ruzicka's top set. Loneray out in 30th place. At another featured table, Paul Volpe standing, about to meet the same fate as Loneray. Tommy Miller exchanged kings for aces and is on the cusp of knocking Volpe and his pocket queens out.
Volpe, one of the best and most accomplished players left in the field.
Turn card now. Another 6. Miller 1 card from getting rid of a very dangerous player.
The 2-time bracelet winner has to have a queen.
It's another 9, and Volpe is out of here.
Like Nike golf clubs, Volpe is done.
Hall won his second bracelet at this year's World Series of Poker, 20th in 2012's main event and 29th this year.
See, sometimes to build, you must tear down first. Miller back on the uptick.
He does know how to rebuild quickly. He's back over 17.5 million. So once again, Miller, a top 10 stack late on day 6 of this main event. There is the main event bracelet. Don't look at it too long. It will blind you. Moss under the gun. King 9 of diamonds are raised to 435.
19 more eliminations, and we will have the November 9. In other words, Lon, 19 of these players will never see the November 9.
Actually, Antoine Saoud is still in the field. He's already seen the November 9.
Well, then he should step aside and let others get to the promised land.
All right. Folded to John Sen.
Slowly going to fold.
He does. Josephine on the button. 10-8 off.
He's going to play with 10-8. I ran into poker pro Tommy Vitas earlier today, and he said Cliff hasn't played a hand since 1994.
A re-raise to $1.2 million as Josephine flexing some muscle. In the small blind is Michael Ruan with jacks.
I've got to tell you, with multi-way action, pocket jacks in the small blind has to be the worst hand in poker.
He just calls with the jacks. So folded back around to Moss under the gun, original raiser. And he lays it down.
Now look at those percentages, Lon. Ruan is now an 86% favorite to lose.
The two big stacks, a total count of more than 46 million at their disposal. Ruan is still best, but he hates to see the king. He checks.
Heads up, two players with their arms folded always favors the player in position.
Josephine with second pair does continue for $1.2 million.
Two deep stacked pros. Josephine flopped middle pair. Ruan with the best hand. Well, it's the Lon McCarron Memorial hand, so how can it be best?
And it does go into the muck where it belonged about a minute ago. So even when pocket jacks is the best hand, it's still the worst hand.
Cliff Josephine lives a charmed life. If he's got a guest room, I'll take it.
Michael perhaps thinking it's okay to fold the best hand once in a while, right? It's okay. Cliff Josephine, once again, the main event tournament chip leader. Let's go next door. Wojciech Ruzicka with ace-king off. Called the under-the-gun shove of Elliot Peterman holding pocket queens. Here's the flop for king-ace. Boom, boom, top two for Ruzicka.
And the 30-year-old Czech pro now about to send home the 29-year-old English pro.
Ruzicka just KO'd Lauderay a moment ago with top set. Turn card. 4 of clubs, 1 card left in Peterman's main event if he doesn't hit.
No help for the Brit there. Elliot Peterman needs a queen on the river, and he doesn't seem to think he's going to get it.
River card, a deuce. Ace-king works for Ruzicka. Elliot Peterman is our 28th place finisher. Ruzicka now the chip leader as day 6 comes to a close.
Peterman's first main event produces a pretty good first ever World Series cash.
His best ever previous poker cash, 14 grand. He'll have spring in his step on the way to the cage. On to day 7, 27 players remain. Czech Republic's Wojciech Ruzicka with a $2 million chip lead.
Don't sleep on Tom Marchese, arguably the best player left in this field. And how can you still not root for first-timers Valentin Voiniku, Mike Novinsky, and Andrew Cristoforo?
The bottom third has some work to do on day 7, and we know Will Kassouf and his 6.1 million chips will talk us all the way through it.
As usual, a lot of 20-somethings and 30-somethings left. The only 40-year-old is Andrew Cristoforo. The only 50-year-old is Cliff Josephine. But hey, age is just a number, and I still love Tom Marchese's chances.
Am I actually a chip leader? Wow, that's pretty sick. You know, but it's